obviously got an exciting game coming up this weekend with LSU, and today we'll start preparing and getting ready to play. And obviously, it's going to be a very passionate game and hopefully a very energetic game on both sides. Again, I think this is one of those games that as a college athlete, you'd love to play in. So ought to be a lot of fun. And like I said, we'll start preparing today.
Questions? Gina, you worried much about, you've gone a long time now without a break. You don't get your off week. And the injuries are starting to mount a little bit again. All that sort of thing. Are you worried from a physical standpoint at all going to this game?
I wouldn't say that we're worried, but obviously we've got a heightened awareness that, at this point in the season without, a game off, that when you're not a deep football team, that, any injury or, guys that are dinged up, it affects your football team. If a guy's injured and he's out, then more than likely, in our case, you're going to get a real young guy playing behind him. That's something that we certainly are aware of, and you're right, it is the time of the season when this is kind of happening. So, but as I told our team, the next guy's got to step up and he's got to play and he's got to deliver. He's got that obligation to our team.
Gene, talking about guys stepping up, tell me about what you like about Akeem means.
Akeem is a young man that he loves football, and he's really been here for the better part of 2 years now, just trying to. He was a high school wide receiver, athlete, moved over to DB with us, and he's really, I think, improved in his game just in terms of learning it from a defensive standpoint. But he loves football, and he's going to get a chance to play some Saturday, and I'm sure he's going to be excited about it. But we have a lot of confidence that he'll be able to do what we ask him to do within the defense.
Can you talk about LSU's defense? They lead a bunch of categories in the league.
They do. They got a great defense, and there's no question about that. And they're in the top. They're at the top in just about every category you can get defensively. I think it all starts with their defensive line, as over the years has been true. Their defensive line is very physical and athletic, and it just doesn't change as you go further back in the defense. The linebackers are the same. The secondary is the same. Probably has one of the best corners, if not the best corner in the country. So just very talented. Coach Chavis does a great job. They're very well coached. They're very sound in everything that they do, which you would expect. And I think they just kind of took off where they left off last year. But they're extremely talented and very good defensively.
They got the option of using two quarterbacks that have to settle on. How much does that make it a little more difficult prepping defensively?
Anytime you have two, it poses some challenges for you in terms of who's in the game, who's not, what's their ideas when one is in the game versus the other. So you have to have some different thoughts in mind. I don't know that it's any more challenging in terms of, they've just made wholesale changes in their offense when one's there versus the other, because I don't think that's true. But they do have a little bit of different ideas with one versus the other, so, you just have to kind of, work that in practice two different ways.
Jen, you've been in a lot of big games, and I guess this is one of the biggest ones. How do you change during the week? Is it hard to sleep?
I don't sleep anyway, Philip, so that doesn't change. But, I love it. I love it. I love it for our players and our fans. Obviously, this is my job. This is, you have to love this type of scenario. But that being said, I don't think you change anything. There's no way that I could come into a team meeting and our guys not know what's going on this week. I don't have to tell them. So just me personally, I have been blessed to be in a lot of big games, and I just think you continue to do whatever you did, to get you there. because in this league, as I said, you know, there's no surprises in terms of how large and how big and what the games mean and all of those things. I mean, all they got to do is go home and pull it up on the internet. You know, they're getting it from everywhere. So our job is to make sure that we don't change what we do and just approach it like we always do, and try to be better Saturday than we were the previous Saturday.
Coach, you talk about the stats of LSU, but and your defense may not necessarily be high on any type of list for statistics, but when the game has been on the line this year, the defense has responded. What does that say to you? What does that mean?
You know, I think that's a great point, and you know, we haven't always played great defensively throughout, you know, the course of a game from the beginning to the end, and it's hard to do that, you know, these days, and especially with the explosive offenses that we've been up against. But defensively, you know, I keep using the word resilient because here's what I like about our defense. They keep fighting. They're into the game. They know, you know, that during parts of the game they got to play better. They got to get things fixed. Somebody's got to make a play. But you can go back to, you know, previous games before this. You know, we've made a habit, obviously, of making games really close. But a good amount of the time defensively, when we seemingly haven't been playing well, somebody steps up at the end of a game and has been able to make a play. And I think that says a lot about, you know, we talk to them all the time, you know, don't look at the scoreboard, don't look at the stats, don't look at any of that stuff until the clock says 0-0, you know. And I think that, you know, they've really sunk their teeth into that conceptually. And look, we know we need to play better on defense. I mean, there's no secret to that. However, I'm very proud of them for the way they keep responding. We tell them that you got to be at your best when your best is needed, and there's many times when I can say that they have done that.
Is Anthony Morgan a guy you're just going to use full-time defense now? Doesn't he in the secondary?
Right now, Mark, yeah, he's going to be a corner.
Any other questions?
Steve, how similar is this LSU team to the one you played down there last year?
You know, very similar, Philip. You know, they're just physical. They're very talented. I don't think there's really a whole lot of difference. I mean, that team that took it to us in Baton Rouge is the same team. And, you know, if we're going to have any chance of winning Saturday, we just can't be the same team. That's all.
Coach, it might be kind of a chess match with Malzahn and Coach Davis. I don't know how familiar you are with them. But is that something you look kind of forward to?
You know, they're going to have their game plan, which I'm sure is going to be a good one. We're going to have ours, which I'm sure is going to be a good one. And it's really going to come down to guys, you know, whoever makes the least amount of mistakes and penalties. You know, the execution of what we're trying to do. That's our offense versus their defense, our special teams versus theirs, our defense against their offense. I mean, really and truly, the game is going to come down to who is executing with the least amount of mistakes and penalties. I mean, that's what it's going to come down to, in my opinion. And obviously, turnovers are always an issue in there, but I don't think there's any question that the execution of all that is going to be, whoever executes better is going to win.
Is Patrick Peterson probably the best return guy you guys have seen so far?
Oh, there's no question. And we've seen some really good ones. I mean, he's in a league of his own now. Put on the North Carolina game, watch him return punts. Put the West Virginia game on, watch him return punts. He's a dynamic football player. He's got a great first step. He's got a great ability to make the first guy miss. And he's one of those guys that don't come along very often. That's got a knack for doing it, and he does it well.
Gene, with all the seems like added hype that Cam's getting now, do you sense him any different pressure getting to him, or maybe, you know, on the other side, maybe him just being more aloof?
Not one bit. Not one bit. I've got no signs of any of that. He's the same guy he was 7 weeks ago, and anything less I would not expect.
What about in the locker room with the way the guys talk to him and that kind of stuff?
He's one of the guys exactly like he was before, you know. Friday night, you can usually find him eating with the O-lineman, which is a good move on his part. That's pretty wise of him. But no, I haven't seen any of that, and I think he's too humble, and he's got it together. I think he's very grounded. I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Gene, in preseason, Gus said he wants to run 80 plays a game. He'd like to make that his average, and that hasn't happened yet for you guys once. I hesitate to say anything's wrong with your offense, but does it signify kind of a change of emphasis for you guys, maybe?
I don't think so. I think it just, you know, there's circumstances in there that, you know, game by game, how they unfold, you know, field position, how we're playing defensively, how fast we're scoring, how fast we're going 3 and out. You know, all those things are factored in there. And, you know, I think every game, as you guys have witnessed, has really unfolded differently. And I think it's more of that than anything. Would we like to run 80-plus plays a game? Absolutely. But, you know, again, I just think it depends on, you know, how the games unfold.
When you get to this point, still being undefeated, still a long way to go, but being as ranked as high as you are, with the makeup of this team, a lot of young guys, have you had to spend any time reiterating your mantra as far as the whole one game at a time thing, or have you sensed that they sort of get it?
You know, I think that slowly but surely they're getting that, and you know, I'm really proud of them the way they've prepared every week. You know, I don't expect this week will be any different. They'll be excited to play, and they'll be excited to practice today, and they'll be, you know, and rightly so, they should be. And our coaches ought to be excited to coach, and, you know, all of those things. But as far as, you know, them understanding that, you know, the day-by-day improvement that is needed, and, you know, everybody bringing their game up a level at every position in practice today. Let's not go to Wednesday. Let's just talk about today. I think they all understand the importance of that. So I'm pleased with them buying into that's how we prepare. I think they've done a good job with that.
Gene, having been here at 7-0 once before at Auburn in 2004, that team after one close game didn't have hardly any close games. This team wins every game in the last minute almost. How's the different dynamic in when you approach it, a team that is dominant and a team that just wins every game?
I'd rather be the one that's dominant, but obviously that's not happening, and it's going to be hard to be that way, you know. But just two different teams, Philip, you know, and two different chemistries, you know, two different. It's a, you know, it's a different mixture of guys. You know, this team's got so many young guys in the mix, and, you know, you've got, you know, one of the bigger senior classes I'm sure that's been here. I mean, I've only been here for 2 years, and I know it's certainly bigger than the one last year, but a big senior class with a great mixture of young guys in there that are pulling their weight, that these older guys didn't know who they were, you know, when they came in. And, you know, I think that the chemistry of the team is still unfolding. As far as whether we win the games by, you know, 1 point on the last play or we win them by 21, we just want to win them. And, you know, they're finding ways to do that. And I think as we proceed through this, I think our team chemistry has improved week by week, quite honestly. And I think that might be one of the biggest part of the puzzles when you're, you know, when you're on a journey and you're trying to win a championship.